we're going to be talking about if you should get a 600 for your first bike. Now, I'm going to be answering the question that every single beginner bike rider asks and every single YouTuber answers. But I'm going to be answering it in my own way. Let's get out of here so we don't hit this guy. And I'm just going to be telling you guys my thoughts. I know other people have made videos like this because it is a commonly asked question. But, there's a lot of different ways to answer it. So basically, here's the thing. Not all 600s are the same. You've got your 600 sport bikes, and then you've got, you know, naked bikes, enduros. There's a lot of different bikes out there. So it really bothers me when people are like, oh, 600s are the worst for beginners. Because anyone who says that doesn't know remotely what they're talking about. A 600 sport bike, yes, it is very powerful. No, a beginner should not get a 600, like an R6 or something. They shouldn't. And this is coming from a beginner that didn't start on a 600, but did make a lot of mistakes on his 250, and then got a 600 and almost made those mistakes on this bike as well. But I didn't, because I had a 250 before this, and that's literally the only reason I'm talking to you guys today, because if I would have gotten this bike, it was way too powerful for me. I would have either wrecked it, wrecked myself. I didn't, thankfully, because I started on a 250. And if you guys are looking to get into sport bikes, that's the way to go, because these things are made for the track. And if you just go out and get an R6, first of all, yes, you can drive it, you know, like I am right now. But you gonna let me in, bud? But you can also drive it way up here, you know, and it's really easy to get up here. And you're going to be popping dank wheelies in first gear, and you're not even going to know what you're doing. And it's going to get you in trouble, you know. It is going to get you in trouble, either with the law, or you're going to crash and really hurt yourself or your bike. So I don't suggest getting R6 for your first bike. If you're thinking of doing that, you know, it's your own money, it's your own body. And you know, if you're over the age of like 25, go ahead. But if you're, you know, 18 like I am, you know, and you're just getting into motorcycles. When I was getting into motorcycles, I was 17, and I wanted an R6, but I knew it was going to be too powerful for me. So I got the 250, and it worked great. I did get bored of it, yes. I got an R6, and I loved it, yes. But if I would have gotten the 250, or the 600, I mean, before, like, actually knowing how to ride a bike, first of all, I would have hated it, and I guarantee you I would have crashed it. So, I highly advise against getting a sport bike over 400 cc's when you're first starting out. There's a lot of awesome bikes out there that are over like 250 cc's. There's like the FZ07 that I've heard that's a great beginner bike. There's a lot of bikes out there that aren't necessarily like a 250, but they're geared differently. They're not meant to go, you know, 160 miles per hour. They're not built for the track, you know. They're a lot more friendlier, let's just say, with the usability, you know. If you're in first gear and you accidentally let go of the clutch, you're not gonna loop the bike, which is really good. It's a really good thing to not have a bike that can, you know, do that right away. as a beginner bike. And that's why a lot of people say, you know, don't get a 600. But they forget not all bikes are equal. With bikes like the Ninja 400 coming out and 400cc becoming the new 250 and all that crap, you know, you can really get a bike that fits your needs that isn't a 600. You know, it doesn't need to be a 600. It definitely doesn't need to be a Busa or a 1000. Stay far away from those things if you're just starting out. But get a bike that's going to be manageable for you. And there's a lot of kids out there that have been ripping up the dirt tracks with their little 50cc sort of like, you know, pit bikes and stuff, and I get that, that's cool, you know, but it doesn't mean you know how to drive a motorcycle on the street. Street bikes are a completely different thing. You know how to shift gears, cool. It gives you like a step up in this game, but it's really hard to explain because I've ridden dirt bikes too. It's different. Street bikes are a lot more dangerous. And so to just jump on a 600 sport bike is kind of ludicrous. What are we doing here? That light's green, boy. With this whole idea of like getting a 600 at a super sport as your first bike, it is doable. And a lot of YouTubers and people that are like, you'll see these little squatty 15-year-olds on R6s, you know, Gxsr 600s. And they'll be like, yeah, boy, I started on a 600. And you'll be like, wow, that could be me. But you know what? They aren't pushing that bike to its fullest potential. As a beginner, you cannot push a 600 to its fullest potential if it is a sport bike. It's just something you cannot do. So, you know, yes, you can get a 600 and ride it like a 250. Yes, you know, it will probably be fine, and you probably will be like, wow, I really fucking hate motorcycles because you bought a 600 for your first bike. Like, knowing what I know now from owning a 250, a Ninja 250, I can appreciate the 600's power, I can appreciate the 600's handling, I can appreciate the shocks on the 600. I can appreciate a lot of things about my R6. But I wouldn't have been able to if I had just jumped on this bike. I would have really hated it. And you will too, because you lose the flickability, you lose the cheap insurance, you lose the cheap parts, you lose the quiet exhaust when you make a big douchebag mistake, and everyone's like, ha ha, trying to be cool, you know. You missed. Made it. I made it that time. But you miss a lot of those things when you start on a super sport. And I don't think it's worth it. You should, you know, if you're looking to get a bike for a long time, you know, you don't want to get a 250 and switch out of the 250. You like the idea of having something that you can keep for longer than a year without getting bored of it. You know, go with something like the F07 or the Ninja 400, something like that. But just, you know, or like a, you know, you could totally get a 800cc like, you know, cruiser. I don't know if they make those, but like you could get a higher displacement cruiser because it's geared differently. It's not like you're riding a little crack addict. It's like you're riding a nice laid back old lady, you know? You get what I mean? Really, when someone says, what CC bike should I get? It's an unanswerable question, you know? Are you tall? Are you heavy? Are you short? Are you young and dumb? Is your insurance gonna be stupid high? You know, like, have you ever ridden a motorcycle before? There's a lot of things that come into play when you're asking what bike should you get. So there really isn't an end-all be-all answer that some people might want from this question. It's really what is gonna fit you, what is best for the environment you're around. Hell, maybe you want a Grom. Maybe you live in the countryside and you want a Grom because, as I found out, the cops in little cities and little towns are fucking assholes. So, I mean, you need to, like, take all of this into consideration when you're picking a bike, and just please do not get a motorcycle because someone says, get a real bike. You don't get a real bike. If you're riding a bicycle with a little tiny weed whacker engine, it is technically a motorcycle. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you today. If you liked the video, please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. All those good things, you know. Tell me what you thought. If you agreed or disagreed with my points. I'm not looking to offend anyone, so if you started on a 600, by all means, let me know what you thought about your experience. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers in the next 2 months, so if you got some friends or you're not subscribed, you know, tell those people. And if you're not subscribed, what the hell are you doing? I mean, seriously.